My name is Amber Payne, and I did my case study on case study 7-4, Universal Studios Florida, Riding the Rat Lady to Halloween Dress. A little bit about Universal Studios background. In 1991, Universal Studios Florida was created. They branched off from the Universal Studios in California, and when they came to Orlando, they wanted to try to have a Halloween event that would increase the tourism during the slow month of October. So they came up with Halloween Fright Nights, but it was later changed to Halloween Horror Nights. They wanted to get the media to get the news out about the Halloween Fright Nights so that it would be a big success and get tourists back into Orlando during the slow month of October. The reporters and the news directors all said that it would have to be an extraordinary Halloween event to get their attention. So they started brainstorming, and they decided that they needed to get the attention of the media, of course. So they decided to have a meeting between Universal Studios Entertainment and their promotions, and also the Public Relations Council. They met, they had a few good ideas, but their main idea that they liked was the Rat Lady. They wanted the Rat Lady to be the main attraction of this Halloween Fright Night. Their thought of this Rat Lady, they would have guests enter into a dark room and feeling their way around by hand-to-wall contact, and then the floor would light up, and they would be standing on a clear plexiglass. And when they would look under them, there would be a lady inside of a coffin screaming with 100 rats crawling all over her. And Rick Hensler, he was part of the promotions department, decided to call her Rat Lady. So ever since then, she has been called the Rat Lady. So they weren't sure on how to start this strategy of the Rat Lady, or how to get Halloween Fright Nights a big Halloween event, because they initially wanted Halloween to become a month-long celebration that would attract people the whole month of October. So they decided that no matter how well the press release was written or how cleverly the press release was written, it would not meet the challenge of explaining the Rat Lady. It would not meet how horrifying the actual event would be. So they decided to have a news conference with the Rat Lady to impress the media and get their attention. So the council put out a weekend ad asking for applications for the Rat Lady. This ad went out to surrounding cities of Orlando, and it was on a weekend, of course. So weekend news talk shows, weekend radio shows, TV shows, we're all getting phone calls about this odd ad that was in the newspaper, wanting someone who could scream and lie in a coffin with rats. The actual ad says, "Help wanted. Person to share a small dark coffin with 100 live rats. Evening hours, no experience necessary, but must not have irrational fears of being buried alive, confinement, or all-over body contact with crawling rodents. High-pitched scream, most desirable." So, as you can see, there was tons of questions to be asked. Where it was a weekend, the offices were obviously closed, so therefore no one could get a hold of Universal Studios to ask them questions. By Monday, in their P.O. box, Universal Studios had over 500 applicants for the Rat Lady. And their phones were ringing off the hook about what exactly was the Rat Lady, why exactly are you hiring the Rat Lady. There were tons of questions being asked by the media. They the media actually wanted press kits, but where it was actually a human relations casting call or hiring situation, they could not hand out press kits. So they answered as many questions as they could and decided to have a casting call audition for the applicants. During this audition, they asked the applicants to scream to see how high their scream was. They also asked them to hold the rats to see the chemistry between the rats and the person. And they also wanted them to lie in the coffin with rats crawling all over them. So there was 500 people who were willing to do that, and they eventually found their rat lady. The rat lady was Kelly Salisbury, and she, I guess right after she got casted, the media tried to get a hold of her, and she did not want to talk to the media. So the media called the office of Universal Studios, and spokeswoman Gail Feen told them that they had not heard anything from her since the audition, and that she would communicate with them as much as she could. She told them everything she knew about Kelly and told them everything she knew about Rat Lady at the moment, and said that she would keep in contact. So the most important thing that Universal Studios did during this time was that they communicated with the media throughout the whole process. When the ad went out on Monday, they answered tons of phone calls, they answered questions about the ad, they communicated very well. When Rat Lady could not be contacted, they communicated very well. And they even sent out a press release to all of the media that said, if you would like to come and do news stories, behind the scenes events, then contact us and we'll do that. They have several different behind the scenes stories that they offered. One of them was that the rats were raised by humans from babies so that they would be used to the human contact. The second one was that they smeared peanut butter under the makeup of Rat Lady to make it look like the rats were chewing on her face. The third one was the rats actually had shifts throughout the nights that they did Halloween Fright Nights, and so there was 300 or 400 rats, and they all did hourly shifts. And that was to show that Universal Studios was not harming the rats, and were keeping them active and not making them do things that they did not want to do. And the fourth one was that Rat Lady's costume had special alterations that allowed, that kept the rats from going into her clothing. They were velcroed shut on the arms, the neck, and the around the legs. And they also made, I saw the Rat Lady buttons that were sold at the vendor booths inside of Universal Studios, and those were sold out within the first couple nights of the Halloween Fright Nights. And their last story that they offered was to let the community know that after Halloween Fright Nights, the employees of Universal Studios adopted the rats as pets. The media was all over Halloween Fright Nights after they seen how horrifying the Rat Lady was. It became an international story. Major media outlets were that talked about this was CNN, CNBC, CBS, New York Times, Fox, and there were many others that were listed, but those were the main ones that we know of. And the chapter 7 talked about how social media plays a huge part in today's public relations. I mean, obviously in 1992 there was not any social media, but as of today, Universal Studios uses it as a major news outlet. Their Facebook page, I looked it up, and it is nothing but Halloween Horror Nights. Their cover photo is the logo. There's updates about Halloween Horror Nights. It's crazy how much they are into this. I feel like if they would have had social media back then, they would have been able to get the word out even more. They would have been able to let the communities know what was going on, how cool this was, and so on. But since they did not, they did their best and they got the word out, and it is still going on today, 12 years later, so, or 11 years later, I'm sorry. But I find it to be a huge success on how they handled the situation. And thank you.